Okay, cool.
Are you recording it live?
Hey, everybody, and welcome to Being Me with Miki Grace. I am calling this one the illness shindig. That's how I've decided to see being sick this time around. It's kind of cool. The illness shindig. So, I don't know how everybody's been. I've been pretty amazing the last few weeks. Everything's been going fantastic. This is episode 4, y'all. Count it. 4 weeks. 4 weeks. So exciting. Really loving how this show is evolving from week to week. It's pretty amazing. Even looking at my process in production, it's kind of cool. You know, I was actually talking to Oliver about ideas of how to position different segments of Miki Grace. I came up with another segment that I'm going to start doing today. I'm really excited about. And but just seeing how even out throughout the 4 weeks, a lot of it is the process and the evolution of life. It's really a show that is evolving from week to week, not only because of my experience, but because of the experience of the viewers and people who I know are viewing this program, who are clients of mine, friends of mine, people that I've networked with, people that I've engaged with. And it is through your response to what's going on that, you know, I'm continuously evolving this process. It's kind of really, really cool and amazing to be a part of that. And obviously, it's also, you know, my process in the evolution of life for me and what I'm up to on a daily basis. And it's really about sharing, you know, my life with you. So pretty cool. I feel kind of fancy with my fancy background here. I am currently in my dining room, so it's a nice space. But as I said, this week has been the illness shindig. That's what we're going to call the illness from now on, because that's kind of how I've chosen to see it. I've chosen to see it more as a detoxing of my body, kind of what is perfect for right now. And, you know, we've spoken about taking stands for the day and the importance of taking your stand for the day. I actually have it in my handy dandy iPhone, which I'm told by everybody needs to be upgraded immediately because it's a 32 gig 3GS, and apparently it must be, you know, changed to whatever the new iPhone is. But whatever, I don't care. But on my handy dandy iPhone, I have this awesome application or app, which is called Evernote. And on this Evernote app, I get to find my powerful stands for the day. And even before I step foot out of my bed, I choose my powerful stand for the day. And is this just, you know, a bullshit affirmation? Is this just you waking up and saying, I love my life, you know? I can't even say that without not truthfully meaning it, because I do. But, you know, is that all this is, taking your stand for the day? And the answer is no, it is not. And the answer also is, if you would like the stand for the day, please do email me at mikigracecoaching@gmail.com. And I'll be sure to send that to you, because this list was sent to me by my coach, Hans Phillips. And it's setting your stand. Where are you coming from in that day? Have you ever thought about that? Have you ever sat down and really said, where am I coming from today? Where is my heart going to be? Where is my essence coming from? Where do I want to see the world today? Where do I want to come from my perception? These are all choices. These are all choices that the moment we wake up to it, the moment that we decide every day, and I do this every day. I do this every day because I notice when I do not do it. That is a part of ritual. That is a part of well-being. These are practices, people, that we can bring into our life in powerful ways and implement them and start seeing the fruits of what that creates for us. And I'll tell you right now, choosing my powerful stand for the day, which is, again, a list, and I'm going to read to you a couple of them, and maybe you can choose your powerful stand for tomorrow. by choosing that powerful stand for the day, you are in a way creating, like it's almost like you're picking up the glasses that you're going to look through for that day. And every time I remember, every time I think back to what was my stand for that day, okay, well, my stand for today was, let me see, I always can tell when I just look. I believe it was, there's nothing out there apart from my observation. And also, it's because it's the first two. I always say this when I trust myself as a gift. And again, these are perceptions. These are ways that we can view ourselves. These are ways that we can look through glasses outside of ourselves, and it colors our perception. So let me read a few of these powerful stands for the day and try one on for size and see what your day is like. See what your night is like by just changing your powerful stand. So as I said, there is nothing out there apart from my observation. I trust myself as a gift. I am already fully related to everyone. My touch has magic. One of my favorite ones is life is perfect. This is perfect. You know, these are incredible stands, and you can have your own. You can have your own. You know, I am prosperous. But sometimes, you know, again, we don't fully understand. I say this to my children all the time. We do not fully understand the power of our words. And sometimes people listen to how I speak to my kids. You know, today we were at the doctor's office, and Tristan saw the straps that, you know, when you're at the OBGYN, that's where the women stick in their legs and then they scoot their bums down so that the doctor can look in their vagina, right? And so Tristan's asking me, like, Mommy, what is this? And that's exactly what I said. I said, well, this is how the doctor gets the woman to, like, you know, spread her legs properly so that he can look inside her vagina, maybe when she's pregnant, or, you know, if she has to do a test. And, you know, they giggled a little bit, but I can guarantee that, you know, if my doctor didn't know that I'm a homeschooling mom and that, you know, we communicate this way with our kids, I could guarantee in a public setting that people would be flipping out. Why are you using that type of language? And, you know, you should be calling them pee-pee and whatever they call vaginas for kids, you know. It just makes me laugh that we do not understand the power of our words. And that's really what I want to knock home tonight, is that you can start these choices at the beginning of your day. You know, what is your stand for the day? And so really, you know, that's what's kind of been up for me. And today, one of the things that I noticed in terms of preparation for production and getting on the recording for Being Me with Miki Grace, is I actually like to record before in advance. I kind of go for a walk and I start talking about what I'm going to share with you guys during the call. And it's kind of cool because I did that outside today, and I was looking outside into this beautiful garden and just reflecting on what led to me getting sick. Because as you know, I'm all about this transformation right now. You know, I'm seeing the benefits in my body as I'm making better choices in my food. I'm seeing the benefits in my relationships as I'm making better choices with my mindset. And this is all stuff that I share with you in my process, because I know there are those of you who are in the same situation that I am in your own way. We are all part of this process together. We are all going through these transformations together, and it's a beautiful thing. And to support each other, this is what we can do. We can share our story. So please, you know, check out the podcast, get on Facebook, you know, type in your comments. A lot of you have emailed me. A lot of you have spoken to me personally about the podcast. Thank you so much about your comments. One of the nicest compliments that was paid to me was that, you know, you're so authentic. This show is so authentically you. And that is the sweetest, most amazing compliment that could be paid upon me, because that's what Being Me is about. It's an invitation for me to be me and for you to be you, because enough with all the diarrhea stories and the bullshit and all that stuff. Let's start living our life like the art that it's meant to be. Let's start expressing ourselves in a way that it just inspires others. It inspires ourselves, And when we give ourselves that self-love, which we're going to talk about today in some really deep stuff about self-love that's been coming up more and more for me, and more I know from a lot of you out there as you're sharing your stories with me. So it was interesting because as I started to reflect on leading up to getting sick, I noticed that, I was having an incredible time meeting with producers, getting introduced to a lot of different, I met with a music producer, Anthony, I forgot his last name. I'm terrible. Delorso, yes. Amazing guy. Please look out for him. He's got a really cool site. It's actually on my Miki Grace page. You could see some of the performers that we went to go see last Saturday who were phenomenal. Amazing people. And he's got a few shows coming up with the Argos as well. And I'll be sure to give you information on that because I think we're going to do a little Miki Grace outing on that one as well. But, just meeting with incredible people. However, at the same time, I've also been going through behind the scenes that you guys don't know about, nursing my two guys, my two little boys who, have been recovering, have been sick, and, different people in the house have kind of gone through their own thing, as their bodies are detoxing. How is it showing up for you? It's spring. A lot of times the change in season, a lot of times people are moving, dust, and all these things can create situations where your body's immune system, starts getting affected. And you're also in the process of making big changes in your life. Have you also noticed that as well? Take the time to think about these things. Take the time to see what led up to this. For me, I know very clearly that how this showed up for me was, in my body not being as alkaline or being more acidic than it should be, in not getting enough sleep. That was a really big one for me, really pushing myself to the limit because I was really loving what I was doing, and wanting to share it with more people, being super excited about different projects, and really going out of my way for family and friends in, nursing them back to health and finding out the right information so that they can get their health back on track. And then what happens is when you're not paying attention to that for yourself, well, you're going to get sick. You're also going to suffer that as well. When I fret for my kids' health, well, how does that show up in your body? When you fret about money, how does that show up in your body? How does that show up in my body? When you fret about, your relationship with your spouse or your partner, if you are not sure, if you're insecure in that relationship, if you're concerned about your child, if you're concerned about your parent, if you have these stresses that you're carrying on yourself, how does that show up in your body? These are questions that you want to ask yourself because one of the things that is my goal personally, and I think it is the goal for a lot of people, although sometimes it looks more aesthetic than anything else, is, in your body. What do you want your body to look like? Well, it's not just to be pleasing to look at. It's also to be vibrant and to be cared for. How do you care for your body? I was asking myself this, today, and it was a really interesting question because as a parent, I guess, now that I am a parent, I can look at caring for the body in a different way because here's this child who pretty much relies on the parent to provide these resources that are vital for the nutrients and like water, like to survive for this child. So I'm very clear, like this is how much sugar they get. This is how much salt they get. This is how many carbs, and he pooed today and he didn't today. And it's really interesting looking at, how as a good parent, I feel, and I'm sure there are good parents out there listening right now, that you monitor those things, you look at those things, you care for the child in that way because you want their well-being. Well, interesting. Let's look at that for ourselves too, because And I look in my house right now because I can see what happens when I'm not caring for myself and I slow down. The rest of the house slows down too. Okay? And what do I mean? Well, there's a little bit more dust on the floor than there was yesterday because usually I'm cleaning 3-4 times a week because I enjoy a clean home. As much as sometimes there's clutter and stuff in my home, I really do enjoy having a home that reflects my essence. And this, we talk about this all the time. How are you reflecting your essence? Look at your body now. Look in the mirror. If you are listening to this as a podcast right now, go stand in front of a mirror, okay? And take a look at your body and ask your body to talk to you. I say this to my kids all the time, and a lot of people don't even think about it. But ask yourself, what do you have to lose by looking at yourself in the mirror and asking your body to talk to you and tell you, how have you been caring for me? Have you been loving me? Have you been giving me the things that I need, or have you been overfeeding me? Am I 5 pounds overweight? Have you given me 5 pounds too much? Have you given me 10 pounds too much? Have you given me 15 pounds too much? And again, this is not about, judging. This is not about, being angry about it or anything like that, or accusing myself or you, or self-hate. It's about learning to listen to that intuitive spirit, learning to listen to the answers within, learning to hear your body. If you get a headache, like the other week, it was interesting. I ate some cheap chocolate and I got a headache. And because I love chocolate and I've never really had a headache after having chocolate, and I was really surprised, and I listened and I just stopped. And that's something that, maybe in the past I would not have done. And this is what it's all about, guys. It's about the growth. It's about the transformation. So really ask yourself, that's something I want you guys to do, is take the time to ask yourself, how am I caring for myself? How am I loving myself? It was interesting too, because by getting sick, okay, so I already said my house is a little bit messier than usual. By getting sick, I also had to cancel appointments, appointments with, big time appointments with producers that I've been wanting to meet with for a while, people to do business with, people to do coaching with, and I had to cancel it. And I had to choose not to beat myself up in not being as busy as I usually am, not to beat myself up. It's tough, because when you do beat yourself up, when you choose to do something and then you don't go along with that answer that you've chosen, that takes its toll on your body too. How does that show up for you? It was funny because I woke up today feeling worse than I did yesterday, and I was so pissed off about it because I thought I took so much good care of myself. 1 full day of rest, that's good enough for me. I should have been better by then. I should have been in whole health. I was expecting, it's so funny, I was actually expecting myself to pop out of bed and just feel amazing, and I felt worse, and I was pissed. I was pissed because I'm like, I have to rest another day. And I said to myself, my goodness, you can choose to rest another day, and how do we do that to ourselves? So many times we beat ourselves up, and that's just so important. That is what love is, man. That is what true love, that is what is unconditional love. And if you want to give that to other people and you want to have that love relationship, whether it be with your profession, whether it be with your finances, whether it be with your home, whether it be with people, with others, with yourself, it's unconditional love. For the reason that you're not going to beat yourself up. You're going to take care of yourself. Hans always says, what do you do? Like, what do animals do when they're sick? They lay down. They lay down and they rest, and they don't ask any questions. They don't fret. They don't worry. They just lay down and rest. So can you still love yourself when you're not doing what you need to do? Ask yourself that question, and take the time to talk to yourself in the mirror and say to yourself, what are you telling me, body? What are you really telling me? Because you know what? You can choose to be in that mirror. You can choose to watch this right now and lie to yourself. You can choose to watch this right now and say, I don't have to say anything to myself, Michelle. I'm perfectly honest with myself. I know and that's fine. But if you look at yourself in the mirror and you know, because I know, I'll tell you right now, 15 more pounds. That's what my body tells me. 15 more pounds, honey, and you're going to feel fantastic, and you're going to do what you need to do that. And that's what my body says to me. And I'm going to be really honest with myself when I look in the mirror. And if you are honest with yourself, what are you telling yourself? If you're telling yourself, ooh, I look good, good job, keep it up, you look amazing, then that's fantastic. But if your body is saying, you know what, I'm really tired, I'm really sluggish, the shit that you're putting in me is making me sick, or I need a detox, I need some time to release. What is your body saying? Listen to it. The way we care for our body is in the way that we love it, okay? So that's been going on for me. That's kind of my friendly banter for the day. But I really did want to talk about something. There was a very specific recording, and also I wanted a section for Miki Grace to be, I don't know, Oliver, the way you put it was like social commentary kind of thing. Is that the right way to say it? Like something like reflecting on either like a blog or, right? That's what you're saying?
Participating in the social network?
Yes. Something like that. Participating in the social network. I feel like such a dinosaur sometimes. I don't know how to call it, but yes. So I wanted to reflect on something, and I'm actually going to get Cassie to post it up, which is actually an Abraham recording, and it is by Home Built Indoor. Oops, I don't want to play it right now. And it's called Abraham. She wants to know how to change from her old grid to new grid. So I'm actually going to do a response blog on that. Not sure if I'm going to do it just now because we're kind of moving in time right now. But it's a very interesting, I'll share about it in a non-direct way, and then I'm actually going to do a video blog on it as well because I really like it. It's just, it's 6 minutes and it's 50 seconds, 6 minutes, 50 seconds, and people have their opinion about Abraham Hicks, and that's cool. I really vibe with them. I really like the stuff that they have to say, and I utilize it in my own ontological and intuitive work. And again, what I love about this show, you take what you want, try on what you want. That's what's cool about ontology, is you're learning about you. This is about you, not me. So it's a really good piece because it just talks about what happens when old energy appears. And, we have our stuff, we have our vices, we have our shit that is really hard to deal with. And, it's interesting to see things come up. And I had my own little Miki breakdown this week. It was the other day. I knew it was coming because it was something that I was definitely out of integrity about. It was something that I had avoided. I was being lazy. I was procrastinating, very shame-based, very much, my own diarrhea story, my own crap, not dealing with it on time. And lo and behold, a full out blown emergency happens. It's nothing serious, when you really look back at it. And that's the thing, right? That's what it's about, setting your stand for the day. It's like, what color what color glasses are you looking through right now? Are you choosing to look through eyes of optimism and solution? Or are you looking to look through eyes that are, in anger, in frustration, in guilt, whatever? And so my own little Miki breakdown happened, and it was I had my own responsibility in it. It was my own fault in it as well. But I had chosen to come from the mindset that it's going to work out. I'm not going to stress about it. It's going to work out. And it did work out. And I could have taken care of it beforehand. But what it did, Listen to this. What it did was, so this is what in the Abraham recording, and again, I'll talk about it a little bit. It's about that old energy that comes up. So we all have our shit what's the toughest thing? I want you to ask yourself right now. Let's have this conversation. What's the toughest thing in your life? What is that thing that you just can't shake? What is that thing that just pisses you off? What is that thing that you never seem to you get stuck in there? You get stuck, is it your weight? Is it your relationships? Is it your money? Is it your profession? Is it your children? Is it your self-confidence? Is it your self-love? Is it the way that you create? Is it your creativity? Are you not creating? Where are you stuck? Ask yourself. Ask yourself. Don't you think it's time? Don't you want to get unstuck? Let's clean up that energy. Let's clean up that resistance. And so here was that old energy for me, that area that I was stuck in, and a full-blown emergency comes up. And I made a decision. I stuck my foot down and I said, you know what? I'm going to come from a solution place right now. How can I be solution oriented right now? What can I do? What needs to happen? Where does my mind need to be in this moment to change the process? Where does my mind need to be to make a different decision, to see this in a different light, to move forward, right? And it was interesting how that happened because I was also sick the same day. And I actually had, this incredible news that I had to share. But instead of celebrating that amazing news, my morning was really taken down, by this situation that had happened. And my husband kind of, gave me that glance, that like disappointed glance. And I was like, oh shit, I messed up again. But what that comes down to again, is loving yourself in all things, making the choice that, okay, you messed up. This is just another area in your life that you're looking to move beyond. This is just another area in your life that you can refocus yourself, that you can release that resistance, and it was just amazing how that event really shifted and really again just reaffirmed that the evolution continues. The evolution continues, and I know that it's continuing for all of you out there too, because you're noticing it. You know what those last steps are. You know what those finer areas of fine-tuning in your life might be. You know what you're doing to prevent yourself from living the life of your dreams. You know what you're stopping yourself from. And so it's pretty amazing to really look at that, because you know what? Love is the purest energy. It's the purest energy. Can you imagine if you gave yourself unconditional love, what that would do to your body? Can you imagine what it would do to your life? I have to say, I do imagine there are times when I know I'm giving that to myself, when I know I'm allowing myself to receive it. And there are ways that I know that I sabotage it myself too. Just like pulling that silly, procrastinating on a little tiny thing. Procrastinating on one little thing. What does that do? What is that saying to me? You know what that's saying to me? That's saying, fuck you. Fuck you, you're not worth it. How have you said fuck you to you? I know I promised my mom I don't want to swear, and I don't want to swear. But how do you say that to yourself? It's sad. Isn't that sad? One more thing that I wanted to share about, because I think it's so important. I went to this oneness celebration. Jenna Smith, who's also an ontological coach, you can check her out. Regeneration coaching. I'll have Cassie put up her information on the Miki Grace page. She invited me to this oneness celebration, which I did not, I have to tell you, I did not fully understand, but I just went with such openness. I've really been doing a lot of soul searching in terms of my own spiritual practices and my spiritual beliefs and what is alignment for me? What is being in my essence for me? What is God energy? What does it mean? How does it show up? So she invited me to this event and it was so beautiful. It was just, I don't know, at least over 100 people, maybe under 200 people in this quite large room at a hotel in Brampton. And they were very consistent, like they were very clear about how to practice and what to do. And we all basically went into a state of meditation. It was a very specific meditation. It was like, I don't know. I don't even know what it's called. I don't know what kind of breath it was called. It was really interesting to do this specific meditation. And this woman was on stage, and apparently she's the only person, or like there's only 5 in North America who's this Diksha. So basically there's a transmission from source that comes from this woman's eyes when she looks out into the crowd. That's it in a nutshell, okay? That's all I understand, and I'm trying to share it with you in a way that I understand it. So here's this woman sitting on this beautiful stage, and she's wearing all white, and she's lovely, and she's got this silver hair. I actually wrote a poem on it. Maybe I'll read that later to kind of share with you what I saw in her eyes. I'll try to look for it, actually, because that sounds like a good idea. It was just so beautiful to see really what I saw when she looked out into the crowd. And she did this for about, I felt like 20 minutes. It might have been more or less. But I was bawling my eyes out because I haven't felt like that, since I attended a bunch of religious things when I was a kid. And the feeling is this feeling that all is well. All is really well, the world is good. Like, she was laughing. It was pretty amazing. Her, the way that she looked at us. And so, you know what? I'll read the poem because I did want to share this. This kind of came up for me, but I called it She by Miki Grace. She had piercing gray eyes, like silver eagles floating so intently around the room. Downward facing dogs smiling, white fluffy clouds, also smile worthy, but the laughter came from a knowing. All is well, she chortled, without words, the emotion bubbling from my heart. Not since have I had such knowing that the world, one I thought replete with threat and fear and suffering, was so much more about love than the silver eyes could show. Platinum they were, so clean and crisp, reaching out to the world to reflect and mirror what we already knew, but covered up with white fluffy clouds and happy dogs, that this world, mirror silver platinum world, is love. So Jenna's response, I'm going to tell you, is fuck yeah. That's what she said when I sent that poem to her. Fuck yeah. That was amazing. That was an amazing event that I attended. So thank you, Jenna, for that oneness event, and for all those people out there. I hope you guys enjoyed my poem. I'm going to post that for you guys. So I'm starting a new segment, y'all, on Miki Grace. Not that you guys are getting enough of the segments I'm throwing at you. I'm pretty much just taking ontology and just applying it to like life, and I'm calling it a segment. But this one was inspired by my coach Hans, and also inspired of a lifetime in thinking that I was living a movie. I remember when I was a kid thinking that I was in a movie. I remember walking around the dining table with my 2 cousins, Melanie and Melissa, and setting the table and saying, guys, I really think that I'm living a movie. Like, I actually think there's somebody making a movie of me right now. And just like the look on their faces, I don't know what they were thinking. I know what I was thinking, because I still do think I'm living a movie. And so that's why I'm just fascinated with the world of media. And as I said to you last week, I don't know if you remember, but I did say last week that Tristan and I were trying to look for a definition of media that would encompass what this monster, this huge component of our life has to do on who we're being. Can you imagine? There's no real definition of what media is. Isn't that hilarious? Well, let's define it, man. Let's start defining what media is for us. Why not? Why don't you take this valuable resource that's all over in your face? It's everywhere. You cannot get away from it. You cannot get away from the signs. You cannot get away from the printing and the stuff and the internet and the media and the social media. Let's start creating the definition of what that media could be together. So I'm doing a segment, dun, 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 it's called Ontological Breakdown of Film and Television with Miki Grace. It's going to be bomb. It's going to be so much fun because we're going to take the usual stuff out there, some of the cool shows you guys are watching. If you have recommendations on a movie that you want me to go check out, send it to mikigracecoaching@gmail.com. I'm all about it. I love watching good television. I have to tell you, my brother-in-law who was interviewed on one of the podcasts with Chris and Oliver, Jonathan Lim, is a big, big TV buff. And if there's ever a show that I want to know is good, I go to him. He's pretty spectacular. So what this ontological breakdown of film, I'm gonna do one right now. We're gonna start off with a new fave show of mine that I know you girls out there are checking it out. It's called Once Upon a Time, and it's an ABC season 1 of this unique show. Jennifer Goodwin is in it. A lot of really good actors, a lot of good-looking guys and good-looking gals. And Once Upon a Time is actually the story about, the happily ever after stories like Pinocchio and Cinderella and Snow White, and they live in this fairy tale land, and this evil queen, Regina, decides to put this curse on this land and sends them to another land where magic does not exist. And guess where that fucking land is, guys? It's right here, right now. Can you imagine? That sucks. No magic for us, no happy endings for us. So they go to this land and, they experience this world where they're living two lives at the same time, basically. So they're living this fantasy, where they're able to relive it in the future. It's hard to explain, where they're able to relive it in the future and learn the lesson. What did they learn from their previous experience in the happy ending, and how can they still have a happy ending despite being in this accursed land, of the real world. But what I wanted to talk about today for Ontology was the most recent episode where Emma, who's this main character, it's a pretty interesting throw in the story, but she's basically the savior of this entire, land of fairy tale story characters. She's the savior because she needs to believe in order to save them. And if you watch this most recent episode, and if you even check out the show, check it out. It's a really good show, honestly. It's pretty good acting. It's a little cheesy in terms of the costume, but I like it. I don't know what it is. But if you look at her whole story is about, being the savior of this world and how she doesn't want to live up to it. She does not want to be the savior. She does not want anybody depending on her because she's lived this shit life all the way through her life. And in the same way, these people have put a curse on them. And what is a curse? In a way, a curse is a belief. And these are the things that we need to start breaking down. And this is what I'm saying about applying it to yourself now. So what is the ontological breakdown? Who are you? What character are you in that TV show? Are you the savior? Are you put here on this earth with a purpose? Because I think you are. I think everybody has a purpose on this earth. Everybody has a purpose on this earth. If you're not on this earth, if you are on this earth, you have a purpose. If not, then you're dead, then that means you have a purpose elsewhere, as far as I'm concerned. So you have a reason for being. How are you shunning it off with your bullshit story, not wanting to step up in life? Are you doing it by saying that you're too busy? You're too busy to write poetry? You're too busy to write that song? You're too busy to give your kid a hug or go to the park? You're too busy, making coin? You're too busy making decisions based on money so that you can sell yourself out later? Like, what is your story? What is your bullshit story that you keep on carrying? And when you watch shows from now on, why not take the lesson that's meant to be given to you from the art that these people are performing? Why not take the lesson? Why not decide to make something out of yourself from that time that you're spending in front of the TV or in front of the video or at the movie theater or reading the magazine? Take from it, learn from it, apply it. That's what this segment of this show is going to be all about. So I'm pretty excited about that. I'm going to talk a little bit more, I think, next time. I might bring in a little New Girl. I really like that show, New Girl with Zoe Deschanel. She's hilarious. It was funny. I asked my husband to watch an episode. He said he tried watching an episode, and when I said to him, "Does she remind you of me?" And he said, "Yes." And I said, "And you didn't like it?" He said, "No." So it was kind of funny that he got very annoyed by Zoe Deschanel from New Girl. But, that's what it's going to be about. It's about breaking it down. It's about looking for the tiny pieces in the storyline and seeing what can we learn from this. Am I the evil queen? Am I the evil queen who just wants to win? Or am I Emma, who's meant to save the world? Maybe you have something in you. Maybe your business. I want to say this right now because I can feel that there are people listening right now, maybe not right now in this moment, but maybe later on when they listen to the podcast, who are on the cusp in their business in many ways and are having to make some tough decisions and are having to spend some sleepless nights and are having to feel a little differently than they're meant to feel. And instead of stopping when there's something holding you back, what about looking for a way to move forward? What about a way to make a decision about how is this going to impact my life and therefore impact those that are witnessing me living my life? Did you ever think about that? Did you ever think that, hey, maybe I need to, be struggling right now. Maybe I need to be experiencing some challenges with this particular experience because maybe this is what I'm meant to share for others. I want to share this because a perfect example of this is building bridges. I'm actually going to have them on the show. I just got an email from their press release, from their PR person who's asked them to come on to Miki Grace. So we're going to try to figure out how to do that. But they're unbelievable, man. They are super creative, amazing people. One of them is actually a producer. She's got a dance troupe and is a choreographer. But I have to say, one of the things that blew me away about this group, because again, building bridges, the whole point of this group is meant to be for people of diversity, people who have been severely challenged, either physically, mentally, emotionally, whatever it might be. One of them had such an excruciating situation with depression. I could not even imagine having to go through that. And to see her on stage, presenting her story to people and be hilarious and be light and be funny and be love and share with us that she's experiencing this incredible loving relationship and has a wonderful relationship with her children. That is inspiration. That needed somebody going beyond their bullshit story. And I know this because I had to go beyond my bullshit story. And my bullshit story had stuff to do with I'm not worth it, and I had a hard life when I was growing up, and people didn't like me, and I don't have that many friends, and blah blah blah. We all have our stories. Whatever yours is, I'm sure there's a reason to it. But this is your choice. This is your choice. Are you going to be the savior? Are you going to be the savior? Are you going to make a difference in this world? Or are you going to give up? Because if you're going to give up, I don't suggest watching this show. I do not suggest it because I would not let you do that. Exactly. I would not let you do that. Okay? With that said, I want to share something with you guys before I do the last piece. There's so much that I wanted to talk about today that I didn't even get to. This time just flies by. But this spoke to me. Ooh, this spoke to me in a deep, 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 deep way. And if you email me again, Miki Grace coaching@gmail.com, I will share it to you. This was actually a piece that's called The Penalty of Leadership by Theodore F. McManus. And during my first retreat to visit Hans Phillips, during my ontological coaches training, he had asked me to read this after a break. And I'm a good reader, and I have a good voice, and I like hearing the sound of my voice. Don't we all? And I read it, and only until, the fourth or fifth line did it start really hitting me in a really deep way. And I looked up, and Hans was crying. And I finally understood. The other day when I read it again, it meant something completely different for me, and I want you to think about the same. The penalty of leadership. In every field of human endeavor, he that is first must perpetually live in the white light of publicity. Whether the leadership be vested in a man or in a manufactured product, emulation and envy are ever at work. In art, in literature, in music, in industry, the reward and the punishment are always the same. The reward is widespread recognition, the punishment fierce denial and detraction. When a man's work becomes a standard for the whole world, it also becomes a target for the shafts of the envious few. If his work is merely mediocre, he will be left severely alone. If he achieves a masterpiece, it will set 1,000,000 tongues a-wagging. Jealousy does not protrude its forked tongue at the artist who produces a commonplace painting. Whatsoever you write or paint or play or sing or build, no one will strive to surpass or to slander you unless your work be stamped with the seal of genius. Long, long after a great work or a good work has been done, those who are disappointed or envious continue to cry out that it cannot be done. Spiteful little voices in the domain of art were raised against our own Whistler as a mountebank long after the big world had acclaimed him its greatest artistic genius. Multitudes flocked to Beirut to worship at the musical shrine of Wagner, while the little group of those whom he had dethroned and displaced argued angrily that he was no musician at all. The little world continued to protest that Fulton could never build a steamboat, while the big world flocked to the riverbanks to see his boat steam by. The leader is assailed because he is a leader, and the effort to equal him is merely added proof of that leadership. Failing to equal or to excel, the follower seeks to depreciate and to destroy. but only confirms once more the superiority of that which he strives to supplant. There is nothing new in this. It is as old as the world and as old as the human passions of envy, fear, greed, ambition, and the desire to surpass, and it all avails nothing. If the leader truly leads, he remains the leader. Master poet, master painter, master workman, each in his turn is assailed, and each holds his laurels through the ages. That which is great makes itself known, no matter how loud the clamor of denial. That which deserves to live, lives. So that is Miki Grace for today. I will definitely do an intuitive read next time because I feel that was sufficient for you guys. That was sufficient for me. That which deserves to live, lives. You are living right now. Continue to deserve it. Great love for you guys. Have an awesome week, and I will see you next week, likely earlier than usual. I might be away next week, but have an amazing night. We'll talk to you guys soon.